Hello, Seema. Tell us, many might be wondering, why is Pope Francis in Corsica making his first trip to the French island? Tell us more.
Yeah. Yes, you're exactly right. It is his first trip to this French Mediterranean island, and it's just a 9 to 10 hour visit, really, and it is his 47th papal visit, and coming just 2 days before the pontiff actually turns 88 years old. So quite significant considering all that he's been doing, but it's important for him, these papal visits. And the main reason he's actually going to the island is to close an international conference on popular religious devotion. Now, the importance of popular devotion cannot be stressed enough on the island of Corsica, which has a population that is some 81% Catholic. And the island is known to have these important street processions as well as large celebrations for Catholic feast days activities. So really, this is something important for the island and something that Pope Francis has always supported throughout his papacy, but even before, when he was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. He really recognizes this as a sign of faith. Now, during his visit, he will be giving 2 speeches. He will be at the closing of that conference, but he will also have his homily, of course, because he will be celebrating Mass on the island. So his words, what he says, will be followed closely. But we do expect him to touch on the issue of migration as well as climate change, 2 topics really very close to the heart of the pontiff. And while this visit to the island is his first visit there to Corsica, it's also important to note that he has a close relationship to the Archbishop of Ajaccio, the capital of Corsica, and who's been main cardinal as well. And so on that invitation, he decided to go. And it's his 3rd visit to France as well. Now, he may not have been to Paris, as you mentioned, but he has been to Strasbourg back in 2014 when he addressed the European Parliament there, talking about how they had to move to avoid making the Mediterranean into a cemetery. Of course, touching on the issue of migrants making that dangerous journey across the Mediterranean to come to Europe. And another visit he made was just in 2023 to Marseille, and that also an attendance on a meeting of the issue of Mediterranean islands, and talking there yet again about the plight of migrants. Now, that's something, of course, as we know, is something that Pope Francis has been interested to address since the start of his pontificate.
And Seema, as we said, the pontiff snubbed the reopening of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral, despite invitations from the church and the state. This, as you said, also marks his 3rd visit to France, but never to Paris. So why is he doing this trip in particular? Is there any sign of tension between him and President Emmanuel Macron, who he will be meeting with shortly?
Exactly. He will be meeting with Macron, who has traveled to the island in order to meet the pontiff and to mark this significant occasion, of course. And the 2 leaders have met on several occasions, just not in Paris. Now, there are a number of reasons why he didn't make that trip to the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral. One could say there were scheduling conflicts. There were key events he had to attend, a consistory to put in place cardinals here in Rome, as well, of course, a celebration, important celebration in the Catholic calendar on the 8th of December. The day after. But that said, I think one always has to remember that Pope Francis has always put importance on the Church of the peripheries, not going really to major capitals or major events, but highlighting Catholicism in the peripheries. Corsica, really one of the poorest regions in France. Let's not forget, 19% of the people on the island living below the poverty line. He wants to travel there, express his closeness to them. We've seen that across the board when it comes to this Pope, and I guess this is really an extension of that. But yes, he will be meeting the president. It is expected that they will touch on key issues around the world, but of course, what is happening in France, I'm sure, will very much be on the agenda as well.
Thank you so much.